And that's how it's going to be. Majority of the morning is going to be me waiting for the next reason to talk about what it's going to do. Now, obviously, I'm a motor mouth. I can talk and talk and talk and talk. I don't want to be doing that during the live session. I only want to be talking when it's salient to what the market's doing right now. Now, I'm going to lead in anticipation what the market's likely to do. So that way you can borrow my anticipatory skills and experience. So that way you'll see this is what it should be doing. We're waiting for this to happen. If this happens, we would expect the market to go up to this candle here, or this fair value gap, or this liquidity, and then it should deliver this way. And I'll take your attention to the next area where it's going to go. If there is no algorithm, I won't be able to do that. If I don't know what I'm doing, I won't be able to do that. You don't need me to push a button, okay? If you go through the process of watching the tape with me, you're going to see how easy it is to find one good setup a week. One good setup a week. Listen, folks, listen. You don't need anything more than that. You don't need 16 trades, okay? You don't need 40 contracts, over leveraging in a discount broker, and market replay, not really making money. You don't need to do those things. Don't pursue that. Do one contract. Do one contract and get 25 handles for the week. You don't think that can change your entire life? It can. What happens if you just make, I don't know, $1,000 a week? Just with one contract. After costs and commissions, and maybe you had a couple losing trades throughout the week. What if you just net $1,000? Right now, if that's what you were able to do 4 weeks out of a month, would you right now, because of what you see me do, and maybe other students, or maybe other educators, other people and influencers, are you going to be allowing those individuals and myself to influence you to want to do more? I want you to think about that before we start in 2023. You need to fix those things, because that's not something good. That's going to be a hindrance. Because if I'm influencing you, if my students influence you, or other traders or educators or would-be mentors or trolls are influencing you to make you do something beyond what is easy. What's easy? $1,000 a week. That is easy. That is easy, easy, easy with one contract. And folks, that can change anybody's life. Anyone. And it might be too high for some of you. You might be thinking, well, if I could just do $500 a week, if I could just do $1,000 a month, man, the changes in my life, what would that really bring for me is peace and stress of all these things that's piling up on me. It could diminish if I could just do that. Right. That's all I'm saying. Don't go into 2023 thinking I'm going to flip my FTMO account. If you do that, I guarantee you will be pissing and moaning in my comment section, in the video section comments. You're going to be on Twitter crying blues because I wish I would have listened to that podcast or that stream you did on the 28th of December. You even told me what was going to happen, and I still did it. I don't want to hear or see any of that stuff. It's easy to avoid. It's real easy to avoid. You have to have a routine. You have to have a spirit of expectation that this is what you are trying to do. When you get that, you stop. You don't try to do more. You don't care what everybody else is doing, what I'm doing. This is what you're trying to carve out for your family. Ends have to be met. Pride and ego and image has nothing to do with that. Has absolutely nothing to do with it. You're starting a brand new year. You have the opportunity to sit down with someone who's been doing this for 3 decades. I promise you, you are going to learn. You're going to learn how to do this, how to navigate, and you're also going to feel comfortable when you don't need to be doing something. You're going to see that, okay, I don't see anything here. There may be a day where we set up the opportunity to sit in front of the charts together, and the market does something that changes my entire outlook. I'm going to explain why it did that, and then we may not do anything. and we close the session. This is what's going to happen. The folks that have no interest in learning how to be independent and an independent thinker, they're going to be the ones that bitch. They're going to be the ones that cry the blues. Oh, well, if he was so good, get up the road with that. Okay. I'm not in here trying to take guesses. I'm not here. I'm not a gambler. I'm not a good gambler. Okay. I want the things that I look for to be in my favor, aggressively in my favor. Not, well, if it's 50-50, I'm going to see how good I can be at guessing. I don't want that. And you shouldn't want that either. Think about it. When you push that button, when you get to the point where if you ever decide to trade with live funds, and I'm never going to tell you to do that, but if you make that decision to do it, when you push that button or when you're about to push that button, do you have a spouse? Do you have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a child, a dependent? I want you to think about them right before you push that button, because what you're doing is going to have a direct impact on them. You're either going to defer a lifestyle or you're going to invite stress and ruin. Think about that. How many times have you ever considered doing that right now? Or maybe in the past year? And the times that you pushed the button, knowing damn well you shouldn't have been messing around with it. I'm going to talk about those things in retrospect and real time. I don't want to be talking about wartime stories about I did this, I did that, because if I do that, I won't be watching the price and I won't be able to read it. So for the most part, it's going to be a very boring session until there's something to be focusing on. That's how real trading is. You know, I'm not in here playing light shows and neon flashing lights and all kinds of stupid stuff. Okay. I'm not trying to entertain you. It's not a rave. Okay. I'm taking you into the markets. I'm leading you into this jungle. And the expectation is you're going to come out knowing better how to navigate it. And you're going to spend months with me throughout the year. And you're going to grow in your understanding. You're going to see things that you didn't think was a big deal. They are. And you're going to be thinking about the things that you thought was a big deal. They aren't. That's what it's like to be mentored. Walking hand in hand with somebody that knows how to do it. I'm not going to be having something pop up on my screen where you don't even know why it's popping up. Alerts and things like that. I'm going to tell you in the logic why this market should do this or that before it happens. And then when it paints in your chart, you'll be a witness. Okay. There's been so many different styles of trading that when I first started as a 20-year-old, I delved into all of it. There hasn't been anything out there that I have not done. And I'm going to tell you something. The model or the system is not the answer. That's not the secret. Okay. If someone learned how to control themselves and the decision-making process was just flipping a quarter and heads would be buying and tails would be going short, as long as you manage the money impeccably and you were aggressive about making sure your losses never grew and you let your winners run, that's a winning system. Now, no one's going to buy the book or the course for that. But if you take the logic that I'm going to show you each week, when to pick the market to do this, when to pick up the market to go this way. In other words, bias, narrative. Why should it do this? Why should it be using this economic news driver to be doing whatever I anticipate it's going to do? And here's the other thing. Here's the advantages of being with someone that's been doing it for a long time. I'm going to go in, and you've seen this twice now with CPI this year. And this is exactly the reason why I don't trade or teach my students to trade ahead of the CPI number, because it's absolutely an avalanche. Okay. It'll blow up in your face or bury you. It's one-sided, it's immediate, and it's unforgiving. So I have never been able to decipher a high probability before CPI comes out. It's like FOMC. You don't want to do it. Okay. You don't want to do it because you don't know what they're going to do with manual intervention. They could have some kind of news event, or a release that says the market should be doing this, and the common consensus would be, okay, this should drive the market lower. And all of a sudden CPI or something to the effect like that, it goes vertical, 100 and some handles. How do you prepare for that? You can't. So how do you prevent it? You just don't touch it. You wait for the market to do that, and then you look for your opportunities. Okay. So there may be opportunities where we sit down and my pre-market analysis and the things I'm expecting to see doesn't pan out, or something changes right then and there. You'll be able to see at that moment what changes my mind about the new opportunity or the lack thereof. And admittedly, I may not be able to divulge that because we're going to be looking at 5 and 1 minute charts. That whole experience has to be, in other words, it's going to evolve through that whole transition of, okay, what I see in the chart, what I expect, and then what changes that. Once I get a feel for it, then I'll say, okay, our bias is now shifted to this, and then I'll take your attention to with the little eyeball icon I usually show on my charts and my videos, where this is the draw on liquidity. Your focus is there. So when I apply that on the chart, what you're training yourself to do is read every single individual candle after I do that, and trust that these candles will continuously paint in that direction. And every time it goes up into a premium array, if it's bearish, it will react a specific way. And right now, it's going to feel like, what does that mean? You're going to see it. You're going to see it. You're going to see it. You're going to experience it. And you're going to be able to glean the very things that you don't understand right now because you haven't had this experience. You haven't had someone sit down and explain to you why the market's going to do exactly what you watched me do with it this morning. You're going to have that experience. I can't wait to share it. That's why I mentioned today on Twitter, February's taking too long. But, this whole experience is my last gift to all of you in this community. Okay. Everything will stay on YouTube. I'm not taking anything down, but I really don't want to be doing videos in 2024. As much fun as it is hanging out with all of you and doing all these things, I'm 50. Okay. I'm trying to do things in the fall of my life. And before I get to the winter where I can't do much at all, I want to be doing a lot of things, this year and into 2024. And it's going to require time. And that means no time for making videos. That means no time for Twitter spaces. That means focusing on my wife and I and our children that are about to, leave the nest. We're literally just a couple of years away from empty nesters. And as much as I am excited to see my children succeed, I'm a little anxious. I don't know how I'm going to take that. So we have a lot of things planned to try to keep our mind off of that type of stuff. But I think that the folks that are here in this community that I've built with all of your help, there's been no advertising. There's been no advertising campaigns, no Facebook ads, no YouTube ads. It's all been organic. And I think that's amazing. That's a testimony to us as a community. And it's also a testimony to the concepts themselves. And for that, I am absolutely ecstatic. I'm so appreciative that you have lent me your time, your ear, your heart to try to pursue something that I believe is second to none. And when you have this skill set, and you will have this skill set, you'll understand what it feels like to not worry about your job. You won't have to worry about, things going up, inflation. Things are going to keep going up, folks. My grandparents complained about things going up. It's going to keep going up. Your kids are going to complain about things going up too. This is the way it is. Things don't stay cheap. But you're going to have a skill set that if you do the right things and you control yourself, you have the unique opportunity to outpace inflation. That should be comforting. It should be motivational for you to not try to do things on a shortcut basis. There's a lot of folks out there that take my lectures and my things on my YouTube channel and they try to condense it down to learn ICT's mentorship in 5 minutes. Okay. Let me see 10 people that have made money with your 5-minute trainer version of what I've taught. They can't. You might have one hit wonders like anything else, like a book. You watch a video or you read a book and you think, okay, I figured it out. And that was the trap I experienced. Went out there, bought this Goober's book, Ken Roberts, and I thought I understood it. It's trend lines, man. It's one, two, three tops and bottoms. It's easy. I know how to do this. And I lost half my money in the first trade overnight. And that was it. I pulled out and had to restart in 1993. That experience of trying to cater to the right now crowd. Okay. If you're part of that crowd that says, get to the point, I'm going to tell you something right now. It would be better for you not to even listen to me. Don't even listen to me. Go run off and chase the people that are going to try to tell you they're going to teach it to you sooner, quicker, and faster. Simpler. That's the easy. That's the new twist on ICT. Smart money concepts taught to you in a 5-minute trainer. I'm going to teach you this. It's going to be easy. I'm going to do this and do it. Go stop listening to me. Go watch their stuff. Spend time with them. Lose your money, and then come back, and you'll be better equipped to learn from me. Because if you are the right now, give me to me right now crowd, get to the point ICT. If you are any of those individuals in this audience members, you aren't ready. I promise you, you are not ready. You need to suffer. You need to have some pain. You need to have something put on your ass so that way you know that this was not the right way to do it. Let me go back to the source, and then you'll be able to listen to my lectures and you'll understand, oh yeah, if I just would have listened to this guy. Exactly. But some of you need to learn the hard lessons the hard way. And that's fine. I had to do the same thing. I was stubborn. I was stupid and 20-year-old. I'm going to be the exception. No, I wasn't. The only thing was is I did it more stylish. Okay. When I lost money, it was impressive. The idea of trying to do this without damaging yourself, that should be encouraging for you. That should be a goal. You don't want to be doing the things that I did and people like me years ago when we didn't have mentorships. We didn't have people that could sit down and spend time and hours of their life giving it to you, an undeserving individual. All of you are undeserving, not just of my time, but anybody out there that's willing to sit down and teach and divulge what they have gone through. Whether they're a good person or they're a bad person, you're not entitled to any of this. That's the thing that drives me nuts, because you young folks, and my daughter's one of them, okay? She thinks that she should have it easier because, she should have it easier. No, she shouldn't. And she doesn't like that being told to her. And some of you don't like that when I remind you, it's the dad in me that's coming out and telling you, you shouldn't expect it to be easy. You should expect it to be hard. And you should be thankful that it is hard, because you're going to be an exceptional individual once you learn how to do this. You're not going to be cut from the same cloth. You're going to be able to do things that the average person can't do. And where everybody else is relying on, hope they keep me employed. I hope they don't find me redundant next week. And you get your pink slip and you can't now pay your bills when everything's extremely expensive right now. That to me is terrifying. If I had to work like I had to do as a young man, doing menial jobs, running a Domino's, delivering pizzas for Domino's, doing all those types of things, working at sub shops. I did all those types of things. Teenager working at Popeye's Chicken, Taco Bell. I did all that stuff. I just didn't work at McDonald's. And I didn't work at New Burger King. Sorry. But I did all those things. And I know what it's like to go through that kind of low point where this is all you can do. Going through school, trying to get some skills, but this is all I could do because of scheduling in school, classes, how it is. When you get out of high school and you got to go into the real world and you still continue your education, it's hard. It is really hard. And then you add to it, you have a child or maybe more. Then you have to balance a relationship too, if that's going on. You're going to have to sit down with your spouse, your significant other, and sit down and really schedule time. That's the other reason why I'm only doing 2 days, because I can burn you out real quick. Real quick. It's going to be easy for a lot of you to tap out even with 2 days. I expect it. I had a lot of people come into my mentorships and tap out because they were like, wow, this is a whole lot more involved than I thought. And I thought it was going to be easy. No, no, because you have to compete against yourself. who's constantly going to be reminding yourself that this probably isn't going to be for you. What if this doesn't work for me? What if I can't do it? You're going to entertain those thoughts. And some of you that are weak minded are going to listen to that and you're going to tap out and you're going to walk away and you're going to prolong this whole endeavor because you're going to go out there and mess around with stuff that doesn't work. You're going to get caught up in doing something. You're going to chase funded accounts. You're going to blow them. You're not even going to get them. I'm going to tell you something right now. You want to pass a funded account challenge? You want the surest way that you're going to pass a funded account challenge? You walk the entire year with me next year. And I guarantee you, you're going to walk out there and get whatever size account you want. That's my guarantee. You have to listen, though. You want $500,000, $350,000, $150,000, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just a number. It's just a number. But I'm going to show you what to do with it once you get it. Because some of you guys out there and gals, you find your way into Vegas City trading. Okay. You're doing the boardwalk shuffle with your trades, rolling the dice, just trying to get through that little bit of a process of getting to the funded part. And then you think, well, I got to do these high roller trades because, that's what everybody else is doing. ICT's got students making $70,000, getting in the number 2 spot on FTMO. I got to outdo that or I'm not winning. No, you don't. Who said you have to do that? Listen, let me paint a picture for you for a second, okay? Slow your roll. Let's say you get a funded 100,000. You don't have 100,000, but you have the ability to work with a prop firm. I'm not telling you which one because I'm not doing any deals, and they're still reaching out to me saying, "Can you do a deal with us? And can you put an ad on your video?" No, don't ask me again. I don't rep brokers and I don't rep funded account prop firms. I don't do that. But if that's the route you're going to go, let's just say you have $100,000 you're funded with. What's wrong with just aiming for 1.5% for the week and making $100,000 over the course of the year and not even working hard to do it? See, you all do funny money math like you didn't go to school. You're all trying to do Olympic sized feats, like you're all trying to win the Robbins Cup with these FTMO accounts. When you look at the Robbins account, track record taking Larry Williams and a handful of other folks out of there, the average returns around 200 some percent, anywhere between 175 to 225%. That's amazing returns. I mean, that's great returns. In this industry, that's phenomenal. Now, a competitive trader would look at that and, well, 200%, that's nothing. That's true. But we're talking about making ends meet. We're talking about building longevity, not running an Olympic feat. How many times do the same Olympic winners compete and win year after year after year? You don't see it. They come out there, they work their ass off, they do exceptionally well, they may even break a record. But that's it. You have Michael Phelps. I mean, he's probably the exception to this rule, maybe. But even him, he's not doing it. After when he did his multiple gold medal, that was it. So you don't want your trading to be like Olympics. You want easy, consistent, no pressure types of trading. It's about making money. It's not about influencing and making friends, okay, on social media, because that's what everybody thinks trading is today. It's the young crowd and the influencers. And I'm in this group. I'm not trying to say I don't, because I know how to bark. I can build a crowd easy. I don't need to advertise. I don't need to do any of that stuff. I don't have to threaten my students to rep me or I'm going to cancel their subscription. I'm just saying, look, if you're able to do it, wonderful. I don't go out there and say, go out there and prove to the world and say, I taught you. No. My students show themselves because they know how to do it and they're proud. But you want to be able to go into this with the proper mindset, not building up some unrealistic expectation on yourself, because all you're doing when you do that and you make it social media equity curve, the MyFX books, I got to get on this. FTMO leaderboard. Who gives a shit about that? If you're literally sitting down listening to me and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go through the ICT mentorship in 2023 and I'm going to get my funded account and I'm going to totally smash the FTMO leaderboard. I'm going to be the highest payout in history in FTMO. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Because if you aren't able to do that right now, that sure as hell isn't going to be the end result of you being with me in 2023. And I'm going to tell you why. You're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're going to push when you don't even have your edge. You're going to push when you don't have the experience. You're going to push when you don't have the mindset to allow for imperfection. As soon as you go into one trade losing, boop, you go into a tailspin. And it's going to become two trades that's lost. And you're going to feel like, oh no, I got to get it back. And you're going to push and push and push and push. And then all of a sudden, you're going to blow that FTMO account. You're going to blow that whatever. FTMO is coming to the forefront of my mind. I don't know why, but I know there's other companies out there. And I'm not saying FTMO is good because I don't know. I don't have any experience with any of them. I have no interest in doing them. I have people that would say, hey, you know what's going to really prove to the world you know what you're doing? Get up on the leaderboard in the FTMO. Why? What does that mean? How about I just run a live account and then show you? How's that work for you live? How's that work? Okay, is that better? Because to me, that's better. Because I could get lucky like anybody else and find their way up on a leaderboard. Call every single individual candle. The entire session. Map out the entire narrative of the morning session. That's understanding. That's prowess. And that's what I'm going to lend to you this year. But when I'm done this, I'm done teaching. I'm done. Okay. I'm not saying I won't make videos. I just won't be doing them at the pace that you're used to seeing because I'll have other things in my personal life I want to do. But if you have that funded account of the $100,000 and you're aiming for 1.5% for the week on one good setup, that one setup that makes so much sense that all other setups for the week you're not interested in. You're not interested in any other day. This is the day it should be doing this particular thing. What particular thing? You're going to understand that by being with me throughout the year in 2023. Oh, if you know what you're talking about, you should be able to explain it right now. I can, but you're not going to understand what I mean by it. It's going to be a low resistance liquidity run. What is that? Well, it's in the mentorship I already put up on the YouTube channel. But you don't have the experience of sitting there with someone that's going to outline what it looks like, why I should do it, and then calling it before it happens live. That's the only way you learn it, by having your nose in the chart, watching real-time data print. That's tape reading. No entries, no demo, nothing. No pushing of any kind of button. You need to log that real-time market price delivery. And this is the part that every single one of my unsuccessful students, just like every other teacher out there, they have students. Bruce Lee, as amazing as he was, every one of his students didn't become a Jackie Chan. Okay. They didn't become, some wildly profitable movie star or excellent tactician in martial arts. I'm no exception to that rule. Humans are human. I'm the same person today that was this goober 20-year-old that thought he's going to figure it out just by watching or reading a book that had no real insight about what the market was doing and why it would do it. I trusted squiggly lines. That's all I did. And I trusted that these people lied and said they made so much money, but they were flash in the pan wins. That's why there was only 12 people on the cassette tape that I heard as case study results. And it was the same cassette tape that he would keep pushing out year after year. Where's the new people that made money? It's like the Tim Sykes, How many millionaires did he make? I think he's only made two that I know of. And I don't know their names. And I might be wrong, but I know he's supposedly got one millionaire student. And he never made more money than he's ever claimed from his bar mitzvah money. So, how's that a sales pitch? Sales pitch for penny stocks, it shouldn't exist because that's garbage. You shouldn't be trading any of that stuff. And I have so many rabbit trails I can go down right now. Anyway, 100,000, you're trying to aim for one good setup, 1.5% for the week. That's an easy, low hanging fruit. What would it look like for some of you that have been here long enough to know, what a low resistance liquidity run signature would look like in price? Well, this morning, if you look at the E-mini S&P setup, that was a low resistance liquidity run signature. That running into that fair value gap and bullish breaker, that was a no-brainer into that sell side. That was so easy to see, so easy, and it worked like gangbusters. Not trying to be prideful and boastful, but let's call it what it is, folks. Everything in the market that I recorded and mapped out was being typed out. Try to do that with another market going the opposite direction. All that annotation real time. Nobody can do that. Okay, you can't be divided in your mind. I couldn't personally, because I can't focus like that. I have to have extreme focus where nobody can talk to me when I'm doing it. And that's why I do so well in recorded, because I'm not having any distraction.